So we start with 6e. And this is actually a pretty simple problem. You might not need, but just in case, we're going to run through it. Now, remember that we're looking at inelastic. And when an elastic collision happens, that means that they're stuck together. Think of the word inelastic meaning not elastic. Elastic would be like a ball that can bounce. So something that's inelastic is something like a pillow or gum or a brick. It's something that can't bounce back. If it can't bounce back, then we assume they stuck together. So that's what we call inelastic collisions. Now, when we look at inelastic collisions, that means that the momentum before separately of each item has to equal the momentum after together of the items, which makes the equations really easy to use. So let's look at what we have. The Chinese giant salamander is one of the largest salamanders. Suppose a Chinese giant salamander chases a 5-kilogram carp with a velocity of 3.6 meters per second to the right, and the carp moves at a velocity of 2.2 meters in the same direction. If the speed of the salamander and the carp immediately after the salamander catches the carp is 3.3 to the right, what's the salamander's mass? So we're assuming when the salamander catches the carp, he eats it, so now it's inelastic, they're moving together. Let's look at what we have. The mass of my carp is 5 kilograms. The initial velocity of the salamander is 3.6. The initial velocity of the carp is 2.2. The final velocity of them together is 3.5. And what I want is the mass of my salamander. So let's look at my equation. My initials has to equal my final. Now, why am I adding these together? Because they're now one unit, and they have one final velocity as a unit. So now I can just plug in all of my equations. My salamander is what I'm looking for, velocity of 3.6, plus my carp, velocity of 2.2, equals them combined times my final velocity. Now we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of distribution. And solve. I'm going to subtract the 3.5 from this one over here, and I get 0.1 times the mass of the salamander equals 6.5. And when I divide, I get the mass of the salamander is 65 kilograms. And that's it, guys. Okay, I'll see you at 6F.